time is now. Let's get to it. Just believe. Just believe. Just believe.
In an ever-changing world, Life Changes Network presents the authentically entertaining voice of truth and inspiration. This is Life Changes with Filippo, with the always unforgettable, ever insightful conversations that captivate our fascination and insatiability for the inspiring moments of real-life journeys, as we, as one, strive for higher planes of existence and a better understanding of our true selves and the world in which we live. Always remembering, life changes. This is radio like you've never felt before. Good for all and all for good. And now your host, the MC, the master of change, Filippo Voltaggio.
Change the world. Change the world. You can do it. You can do it. Time is now. Time is now. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Talk about the time is now. Let's get to it. Our guests today do exactly that. Ciao, everyone. This is Filippo Voltaggio with Life Changes with Filippo here on the BBS Radio Network. And our guests today, Yvonne and Rich Dutra-St. John. There's so much I could say about them. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, there's so much I could say on this topic. This is the topic we're talking about. These are the people we're talking about. Listen to this. Motivated by memories of their own teen experiences and fueled by a desire to work for positive change, Yvonne and Rich Dutra-St. John created the award-winning Challenge Day program in 1987. Experts on relationship building and communication, Yvonne and Rich have worked for years to break down the walls of negativity, judgment, separation, isolation, and loneliness, replacing them with compassion, understanding, and love. They envision a world where every child feels safe, loved, and celebrated. Not just every young person, but also the child that still lives in each of our hearts. Now, Yvonne and Rich's life-changing work has received numerous awards and has been featured extensively in places such as The Oprah Winfrey Show, Emmy Award-winning Teen Files, Surviving High School, The Bully Solution, a winner of the Canadian Blue Ribbon Award, is the feature of MTV's If You Really Knew Me, and in USA's networks, Tom Brokaw, Bridging the Drive. You know, I could go on and on about them, and I think we're going to be doing that, actually, during the show. Also, because of something that is so important to me, and as a matter of fact, that feature on MTV, If You Really Knew Me, that title there, inspired me to share a story with them that I had actually never shared with anybody before. And so I feel now inspired to share it with all of you right after these messages. In the meantime, stay tuned to hear Rich and Yvonne. This is Filippo on Life Changes with Filippo.
Clean water is not enough. Reverse osmosis, distilled water, and most bottled waters are devoid of naturally occurring minerals. They are acidic, unstructured, and hard to absorb and rob minerals from the body. IonWay's ionizers produce a superabundant supply of powerful antioxidants in each glass. Ionized water has a reduced molecular cluster size and a negative charge, hydrating you up to 6 times better. Water from an IonWay's ionizer will help you restore your body to its natural pH balance, boosting your vitality. And ionized water more effectively flushes acidic toxins from within your body. Drink the healthiest water available today. IonWay's water systems, their water changes everything. To learn more about IonWay's water systems and how you can own one today, visit our website at lifechangeswithfilippo.com and click on our sponsor page.
True performance takes more than just working out. Every day we demand more from our body. But what does your body demand? Hunger is not your body's call for empty calories. It's your body asking for nutrients it's lacking. It's time to reward your body with Boku Superfood, made from the world's finest organic ingredients, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and essential trace nutrients, all developed naturally and organically from nature's most nutrient-dense foods. Boku Superfood is quite possibly the best thing you can feed your body. So listen to your body. Reward it with pure, raw, beautiful food. Boku Superfood.
What is the one thing that every man, woman, and child have in common? Life changes. Are you experiencing change at home, at work, at school, or in other areas of your life? Are you looking to make a change, maybe a new job or place to live? How about getting in on a conversation that matters? Join host Filippo on the top-rated BBS radio network show Life Changes with Filippo, live every Monday night at 7 p.m. For more information, visit lifechangeswithfilippo.com. That's Filippo, Filippo.com.
Well, life changes, and so does radio every minute. This is Filippo with Life Changes with Filippo, and our guests today are Rich and Yvonne Dutra-St. John, and they had an MTV special and a question that was called this, and a question that they ask of people, and that question is, if you really knew me, ... how would you finish that sentence? And when I got to speak with Yvonne and Rich a week or so ago, that question they brought up, and it really touched my heart. And though I have a lot I could share about being bullied as a child, actually, this is this question made me focus on this story to share with you all today. And I've never shared this with anybody, but when I first moved to Los Angeles, I was planning on being a singer, actor, and people were putting me into modeling roles and having me go out for modeling parts, and my manager at the time was having me go out for leading roles in some musicals, etc. Well, he sent me out to audition for the role of, I think it was Garçon, I think is the name of the role, in Beauty and the Beast. And Beauty and the Beast is a Disney musical, and they had a cattle call. I didn't know what a cattle call was. All I know is that I got there early thinking that, I would be there and there'd be a couple people there to audition. Instead, there were, I think they said 3,000, but maybe it was only 1,000 people auditioning for the roles that they had. And I was in the back of the line already when I got there early of these thousands of people. And I called my agent or manager at the time, and I said, "What is this?" And he says, "It's a cattle call." And I said, "Don't you have any pull? Can't you do something?" And he said, "No, I can't." And I said, "Well, this is ridiculous. I'll never get it." And so I left. And then I thought, Filippo, you can. You can, because you've got the voice that they want. So I went back, and by then they had pulled everybody out of the line that wasn't SAG. It wasn't in the union. And I thought, okay, great, there were less people, but I didn't know that I couldn't be in that line because I didn't have a SAG card. And then as I waited and I got closer to the front, which was still hundreds of people, I was told by somebody walking through the line, "Make sure you have your SAG cards." And I said, "What's that?" And they said, "Well, if you don't even know what it is, then you don't belong in this line. We sent everybody home who wasn't SAG." And so I went home again. Now, mind you, I lived 40 minutes from this place. And as I paced in my house when I got home, I thought, I deserve this role. I have the voice for this role. I could do this role. And just because I'm not SAG, I'm going to show them I could do this. And so I went all the way back, and by then it was down to like 15 people. And this man came up to me and said, "I didn't see you in line before. Why are you in line now?" I said, "They have to hear me. They really do." And he says, "Look, we sent everybody home." And I said, "No, I have to audition for this role. This role is mine." And the guy went inside and spoke to the auditioners, and came out and he said, this is unusual, but they're willing to hear you. And so I went in. It's interesting that the role required a big voice. And if I've heard anything said about my voice, it's that I have a big voice. I was trained operatically. I can sing loudly. I've done musicals when I was a kid and through college. I could do big voice and I could do manly voice and low voice. I had it. Exactly the voice that they wanted. Whether I would have gotten the part or not is a good question. But when I went to sing a song for them, my big Hollywood musical audition, I chose a soft song. I chose a quiet ballad. I chose a song that was called If You Really Knew Me. Here I was in my big moment, an opportunity to have a big role. And I was asking the auditioners, a lot from the auditioners, after having said yes to me for what I did to come back, etc., and told them they had to listen to me. I wanted to be heard. And instead of giving them the big voice, I sang to them, If You Really Knew Me. And the song ends with, if you really knew me, maybe you'd remind me of who I am. And that's what I needed at the time. And since then, I've gotten that. And thanks to people like Rich and Yvonne, other people, and kids especially, are getting that. Mark, you've never heard that story. I've never shared it with anybody. Do you want to say anything before we bring Rich and Yvonne on?
Well, I'm really glad you shared it, and it has to resonate with everyone, I believe. I think there's, this discussion, what Rich and Yvonne do, and obviously it's come to light more in the last year or two, is paramount. It's front and center to so much human suffering. And it's not just kids. It's class warfare in terms of the anybody looking for a little bit of status over anyone else. And so I'm really glad you shared it, and I'm really glad we're having this discussion today.
I am too, and I just thought of this. Had I gotten the role and had I not sung that song maybe and sung one with a big voice and gotten the role, then maybe I would have been on the road to the quote-unquote stardom like so many people have without knowing who they are and then ruining their lives in the process, looking for themselves. And there I was at that pivotal moment saying, if you really knew me. And thank God I got to know myself, and here we are. And I'm so glad that we're going to get to know Yvonne and Rich even more here, the founders of Challenge Day, Yvonne and Rich Dutra-St. John, welcome to the show, you two.
Thank you.
Good to be on. Thank you for having us.
And thank you for what you do, truly.
It's an honor to do what we do. I mean, all we do is remind young people and young people who live inside of the elders and grown-up bodies who we are. And so it's an honor.
Well, it's interesting to me that both of you come from experiences that you were bullied, and then you had the opportunity to be the bully. Then you had opportunities where you were cool, and then you still were bullied in that. How does one explain that?
It's a really big cycle. I mean, for us, as I mentioned to you earlier, being one of the smallest kids in my 7th grade class and getting terribly bullied and trapped after school and caught in the parking lot and all that, I just knew I wanted that to be different. And then when I got to be bigger and I was a good athlete when I got to high school, all of a sudden I saw things, and I didn't so much bully people, but I didn't have the courage really to say stop, because all I could see was my alternative was, now I'm going to be back and be that guy again who's bullied. So even though I graduated with honors and I did great in school, by the time I got to college, I just knew I wanted it to be different. And so I think kind of like you and your experience of not getting chosen, my right and perfect path came from the hurts that I had in my part.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, there you go. And actually, Yvonne, you've got a story with that too that I'd love to start off the next segment with when we come back with Rich and Yvonne Dutra-St. John right after this. This is Filippo Voltaggio on Life Changes with Filippo.
A healthy new you is on its way, and it starts with Laminine. Laminine is a natural, synergistic superfood that contains most known vitamins, important trace minerals, all 8 essential amino acids, and other nutritional elements. Laminine is nature's most perfect food and the perfect combination of life-giving sustenance sourced from land, sea, and plants. The key ingredient in Laminine is a normal adaptogen called fibroblast growth factor, which helps to create a balance or normalization and aids in restoring the body to its natural state of homeostasis. Regular use of Laminine has been known for reducing the signs of aging by giving you healthier skin, decreasing the effects of stress, increasing physical, mental, and emotional strength, increasing libido, and it's also been believed to elevate serotonin levels, thus improving mood, aiding in brain function, and increasing alertness and focus, all while developing an overall sense of well-being. Are you ready for the healthy new you? For more information, email trylaminine@gmail.com. That's Laminine, Lamanine, or call 818-462-6782. That's 818-462-6782.
There are self-help seminars costing thousands of dollars guaranteeing miraculous transformations. There are compelling speakers and life-changing weekend experiences where you can walk on fire. They all deliver revelations that guarantee you'll come back for the more expensive revelations filled with even greater wonder next month on Fiji. We get addicted to positive, heartfelt, expensive theater. What we really need is a jumpstart, an awakening, someone who can give us a reminder that everything we need lies within. Through inspiration and practical knowledge, Dorothy Donahue helps people get grounded and motivated, inspired and energized. It's not just words and affirmations and the power of intention. It's a mindset brought about by a tangible, transcendental experience, an audio-visual, physical, spiritual experience that helps us realize we transform ourselves. We get tools to become the conscious co-creators of lives of unlimited potential. Find out more. Go to DorothyDonahue.com.
Listen to these words. He would not be beat by forces too fierce for man, woman, or beast. As the going got tougher, his courage increased. It's a little story with a big message, a message that speaks to children of all ages. It's about believing in yourself, overcoming obstacles, and never giving up. It's been called a masterpiece, one of the finest children's books ever written, and a true children's classic. Shadoe Stevens has been called Dr. Seuss for the 21st century. His big little book, The Big Galoot, is a story about bullying. Bullying has become an American epidemic, and The Big Galoot talks about it in a way that will touch the heart of a child of 4 and a grandfather of 104. It's the story of a little boy with size 42 hands, the biggest hands anyone has ever seen, and the kids laugh at him. Then the laughter turns mean. They mock him and trip him, and much worse. But throughout it all, Warren Galoot says, "I'm a galoot, but I have good luck. You can't get me down. I never give up." A second grader named Chandler said, "I thought it was the best funny book I have seen in my life." And we agree. Whoopi Goldberg said, "This is a great story. Bravo, Shadoe." The Big Galoot is available now as an ebook exclusively on Kindle Fire on Amazon for only $3.98. We strongly urge you to get it for your children, your children's children, or as a gift to yourself. Its message speaks to all of us. Have good luck and never give up. Go to Amazon.com and search for The Big Galoot by Shadoe Stevens. You are listening to Life Changes with Filippo on the BBS Radio Network with the Master of Change, Filippo Voltaggio. You can hear tonight's show and all our past shows on our archive, which include luminaries such as New York Times best-selling author Gary Zukav, Oscar-nominated actress Mariel Hemingway, Comedy Central's favorite Kyle Cease, international recording artists, the Green Children, and radio and TV personality Shadow Stevens. Visit our website at lifechangeswithfilippo.com or join our community at lifechangesnetwork.com. And email your comments and questions to info@lifechangesnetwork.com or comment via Twitter at I am Filippo and on Facebook at Life Changes with Filippo. That's Filippo, Filippo.
And that's me, and this is Filippo on Life Changes with Filippo here on the BBS Radio Network. And our guests today are Yvonne and Rich Dutra-St. John, who created Challenge Day for kids that are being bullied and for so much more, actually. If you want to learn more about them, you can go to their website, which is challengeday.org, www.challengeday, just as it sounds, challengeday.org. Yvonne, before the break, Rich was telling us about his personal experiences growing up and being bullied and then having a turnaround and still feeling bad about it. And you had a similar experience, only different.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. Yeah, I grew up in a family where there was lots of pain. And first of all, I want to say that we believe everybody does their best. Every human being, whether it's a kid or a parent or my parents did the best they could, and they had more experience in how to drive a car than they ever did in how to be parents. And so I grew up in a family where there was lots of handed down generations of pain. And what I did with the pain was, as a kid, I ate. And I ate a lot of food, and at the time I thought I was hungry for food. Today I know it was much more than food. But by the time I was in junior high school, I was a really big girl. They actually called me fat. I was short, I had braces, and then of course my mom topped it off with one of those homemade, funky, crazy hairdos, and not a good combination for any junior high school. And, after doing this work for so many years, I think just about all of us get teased at some point or another in schools. And one of the things we realize is in every school, there's the kids that are not only teased, there's the kids that are actually tortured. And yeah. I was one of those kids. I hated going to school. Every day, people would laugh, they would tease me. It was torturous going to school. And, what happened for me was I developed a eating disorder, and I knew nothing about eating disorders at the time. I was just so desperate to lose weight. It was bulimia. And I lost a lot of weight over a summer, and then I came back to school and stepped on the school campus in junior high school. And because I fit the stereotype of what the media says looks good, all of a sudden everybody wanted to be my friend, which in some ways was more painful than being teased for being fat, because I was obviously the same person. There's a gift, I believe, in everything, and the gift that I got very young was I learned that we are all treated very different just based on what we look like on the outside. I became a popular kid. I was a homecoming queen and the class vice president, and then kids started spreading rumors saying I was conceited or stuck up. And what I learned was nobody was winning at this game, because I thought before that it was only certain kids that were getting teased, and those quote unquote popular kids were, had it good. But I realized we were all stuck in this painful game, this cycle of teasing and hurting one another.
And Yvonne and Rich, is it true that some of those kids that are out there teasing or bullying are actually bullied by their parents, and that's where they learn their behavior?
Well, we actually believe that hurting people hurt people. So I can't say if it's their parents or if they got teased at school or if they just saw it on TV. I have no idea. Everyone has their reasons, but it definitely becomes a culturally cool thing to do. And I get to be on the side that's on the inside, and you're on the outside, whoever you are.
Yeah, I heard you say in an interview that our young people don't want to hurt each other. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah, definitely learned. We don't believe there's such thing as a bad kid. And I sometimes cringe when I watch shows or hear people label kids as bullies. I think just as the same way almost every one of us have been teased at some time, almost every one of us has teased somebody else. And so I think we're just really caught into a cycle. And a lot of our media perpetuates this. So our kids watch the media. A lot of them are being hurt themselves one way or another, and so the cycle continues.
Well, sure. Now that you mention that, I'm thinking when you're watching TV or commercials and they're saying you yourself should look like this or act like this and dress like this. So there it is. It's perpetuating through that as well.
Well, and there's a false promise in that if you just look this way, you'll feel better, you'll be more popular, you'll be more cool. And the sad part is that sometimes, like Yvonne had that experience, is it seems to work for a while, but the truth is that never healed that part of her that was teased and bullied for being who she was and could never really then trust anyone, really loves her for what she is.
It's interesting. I just made the correlation listening to you all that the story I shared during the monologue, though I didn't get that role, a few years later I ended up singing in front of 5,000 people and then, having CDs that sold really well. And so I started to have that experience that you, Yvonne, had with people wanting to be with me or associated with me. And I didn't understand it at first. And yeah, you want to almost say, F you, where were you before? Just because I looked different or whatever it was.
Well, and again, I think our society so perpetuates a certain image. And I still look back, Filippo, and I think that everything in my life, maybe even including some of the most horrific, the painful things, were actually stepping stones along the path of my life that led me here. We wouldn't be doing the work that we do on the planet. And this year alone, we're going to reach probably 100,000 young people. And we wouldn't be doing this work if it wasn't for the pain we had. I wouldn't wish it on anybody else. However, it was a gift for us to be able to be in the pain, in the cycle on both sides, to be able to be there for young people around the world.
I agree with you completely, Yvonne. As a matter of fact, that's why I started the show with, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, I have a lot to say on this subject myself. So here we are. One of the things that I think is the most interesting that you say, that people feel separated, isolated, and lonely. How is that possible?
Well, isn't it crazy? I mean, our schools are packed. They're crowded with hundreds, often thousands of kids. And yet the biggest problem really is separation, isolation, and loneliness. We're feeling separate from one another, and that's not just kids. I think that's all of us.
We actually, in the Challenge Day program, have this whole experience of crossing over the line. I know you've seen it. And one of the things that as people cross, what they get to see is they have more in common than different, and they get to feel less alone. I mean, one of the things that we say is we compare our insides to other people's outsides, and we make up stories then, and then we fill in the blanks until we get down to that question, if you really knew me. And then we get to hear, oh, you're like me. Oh, you get scared too. Or your dad is hard on you at home. Or you get bullied as well and you don't like it. So it's human being to human being puts an end to that.
Wow. Actually, that crossing the line exercise, I've watched it several times, and each time I get a lump in my throat, and I'd love for you to describe it to the audience when we come back, because I think it's one of the most powerful exercises for this kind of thing that I have ever seen. Actually, Yvonne and Rich don't just do high schools. As a matter of fact, this has grown so much. Like Yvonne says, they're going to reach over 100,000 kids this year. But they also do corporations, and they have other people now that are part of this growing team that do Challenge Day. So if you want to, and more. So if you want to learn more about this work, go to challengeday.org. This is Filippo with Life Changes with Filippo here on the BBS Radio Network. We'll be back with Yvonne and Rich right after this.
Today, experience The Quick Fix, a simple process for positive change. Written by Bradley Quick, author, producer, motivational speaker, and host of the award-winning radio talk show, The Quick Fix with Bradley Quick on CoolChangeRadio.com. Bradley's passion for life is evident in his book, written so you can experience health, find your purpose, and have more effective relationships. Beating insurmountable odds, overcoming death, and being paralyzed, Bradley fought his way back so he could help you conquer your struggles. Experience increased health, vitality, passion, and purpose in your life right now with The Quick Fix, and read about Bradley's courage, ambition, and determination to live. Whether the issue is your thoughts, your physical body, or you just want to feel better and be happy, The Quick Fix, a simple process for positive change, will change your life. For only $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Take positive action now and receive a free guided meditation CD with your order. That's a $20 value free with your order today. Go to BradleyQuick.com. That's BradleyQuick.com. Take control and begin feeling better now. Get the book and free CD now at BradleyQuick.com.
Life Changes with Filippo is a premier radio show presented by Life Changes Network, which is a company whose team has dedicated their lives not only to positive change, but to helping others observe and embrace, honor, and even celebrate their own changes, thus enabling a more positive, inspired life and helping to create a more positive and inspired world. From everyday people to corporate giants, celebrities, and children, we are here to help and to serve. With heart and experience, we bring our message and positive intent into your home or corporate office, and even through appearances on your favorite shows. If you wish to learn more about Life Changes life coaching and a private consultation with one of us, corporate event appearances, or if you would like us to appear on your radio or TV shows, visit lifechangeswithfilippo.com and click on our representation page. And now a public service announcement from E-News anchor Juliana Ranchek for the National Italian-American Foundation.
We're fighters. You know, Italians are fighters, and we have passion, and we take great pride in our work. I truly believe that if I weren't Italian and I didn't have my parents, who are the ultimate Italians, as role models, I really don't believe I would ever have reached my goal. I'm an Italian American, and I am so proud of it.
The Italian American heritage. Live it, love it, celebrate it.
Are you achieving your highest potential? Do you know what that looks like? Louise Ashby Life Coaching makes it a mission to bring balance and abundance to every area of your life, giving you the opportunity to do and be all that you've dreamed. Anything is possible if you just believe. Contact author and motivational speaker Louise Ashby for your complimentary session and see if her individualized style is for you. You can email Louise at louiseashby.org. That's LOUISEASHBY.org, or telephone 323-592-3181. That's Louise at louiseashby.org, or telephone 323-592-3181. What is the one thing that every man, woman, and child have in common? Life changes. Are you experiencing change at home, at work, at school, or in other areas of your life? Are you looking to make a change, maybe a new job or place to live? How about getting in on a conversation that matters? Join host Filippo on the top-rated BBS radio network show Life Changes with Filippo, live every Monday night at 7 p.m. For more information, visit lifechangeswithfilippo.com. That's Filippo, Filippo.com.
We're back. I am Filippo Voltaggio, and our guests today are Yvonne and Rich Dutra-St. They've been featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show. They've been featured on MTV, USA Network. They also have a book out, Be the Hero You've Been Waiting For, which has inspired thousands of readers and has been the basis for countless classroom and family discussions. If you are interested in that or any of the courses that they teach, go to challengeday.org. Challengeday.org. Yvonne and Rich, I was going to say go to Life Changes because it's so life-changing.
That's so true.
Thank you for that.
And no, thank you. And actually, we might have to do something together because we're working on doing live events, and so we'll have to talk in the future. But speaking of live events, during some of your events, or maybe all of them, I don't know, you have that exercise about crossing the line that we talked about before the break. Please share a little bit more about that. I think it's so powerful.
Yeah, thank you. It's actually one of the most powerful activities that we know of to help people really get to a place of vulnerability in a way that we can connect in our humanity. We don't believe that we connect in our image, and yet we're all, most of us, hanging out in an image, what we look like, what we wear, our titles. So the way the activity works is we have the whole group, usually about 100 students and 50 adults, teachers, parents, community members, stand on one side of a tape line. It's done non-verbally. And then what we do is we call out categories, and then we give them choice to cross if it applies to them. There's about 100 different categories, anywhere from cross the line if you've ever been teased, cross the line if you've ever been teased for the shape, size, or appearance of your body, cross the line if you've ever been teased for your cultural background, for your sexual orientation, if you've ever been teased for being fat, for being tall. I mean, it's a whole list of things, and then it goes into it gets more and more vulnerable in the process. In that process, what happens is everybody crosses at some time or another. And what we get to see is we have much more in common than we do different. Very vulnerable. There's lots of tears. It's a kind of like peeling back the onion layer after layer after layer. And what we find is in a gym full of 100 students who may have been beating each other up, staying in separate groups the day before, all of a sudden see who they are in a vulnerable place, start putting their arms around each other, crying in each other's arms. And it's one of the most powerful experiences that we see on the work we do.
I posted a video that was used on the Oprah show on Facebook when I made the announcement of this show, and I'm looking forward to hearing people's responses to it. You know, one of the things that I would have wished differently for you, but then who am I to say, because here we are having this conversation and it all went well, but you were told over and over again that you were crazy for thinking you could get macho high school kids and pretty, stuck-up girls, so to speak, to break down or to say I'm sorry to anybody for ever teasing anybody. And instead, it was successful on the very first attempt, right?
Well, it definitely was, and it's taken off from there. We've never really advertised or made any kind of plan for how to get it out. We've just followed where we've been guided and called. And so in that way, that's, I guess, we are crazy because we believe something new was possible and it actually worked. So we'll just take it for that.
And now you're in how many states?
We're in almost every state in this country. We've led challenges in almost every province of Canada. We're doing a lot of work in Europe. We have a TV show that's running right now in Europe. Young people are ready. They're ready to remember what they were born to do. They're ready to stand up and to speak out. And we as adults had better get any kind of fear that we have out of the way, because young people are ready to change the world, and they're doing it. This is not a challenge for us. This is just creating an opportunity for young people to say, we're tired of the separation. We're tired of the teasing. Let's just love each other.
Wow.
A whole bunch of different people now that work with us that have taken things even a step further, some of them, and they're just amazing leaders and really diverse. And it's just, for me, all the craziness is spread and we're all holding hands together and making miracles. So
I'm right there with you. One of the bold statements that I loved that you made, Yvonne, and something I heard you say was, if we settled for tolerance, we will have failed. What are you shooting for?
Well, first of all, just, imagine all these tolerance programs, and I respect the people who are doing the work. However, if we're teaching young people or adults to just tolerate each other, like, I'll tolerate you,
right.
That's, what kind of bar is that for human beings? As parents, we raise our kids to love one another. So That's the crazy part, where we go into schools and we're crazy enough to remind them that we're here not just to tolerate each other, but actually to love each other in our differences. So that's the bar that we set and remind us of, because we all know that.
Nice. Nice. What can one say after that? Except be the change. Let's talk about that. You're creating a bigger wave here than what you already started.
Well, the exciting part for us was with Challenge Day. Every time we did the program, we'd see that love and connection were possible in school. And never again could kids or people who went through say, I didn't know that teasing or bullying hurt her, and I didn't know that I had more in common with that person. That gets totally changed. But then we started talking about, well, then they go back to school with kids who hadn't had the experience, and we're going back to school where people are going to tease them for being there, or whatever. And we started thinking about, well, what if we could create a bigger wave? What if we could actually create a wave where no matter if nobody else got it except that one person, they could make a difference? And so we came up with a 3-step formula for change called notice, choose, and act. Notice what's happening, choose how you'd like it, and then take action to change it. And so since that time, as we started incorporating it into our programs, we put it on the logos on our T-shirts, the concept spread. And of course, it's from the words of Gandhi, we must be the change you wish to see. You can't wait for someone else to do it. So what we started doing was incorporating into our languaging of every Challenge Day, please, when you leave here, what are you going to do to be the change? And we challenged them to do at least one positive daily act of change each day, because we thought service and depression can't really live in the same body. And certainly the more I'm in service and looking for things to do to be of service, the less likely I am to get bored and start to have to hurt somebody.
Wow.
And part of what we do, too, is we have workshops not only for young people, but also, as you said before, the young person that lives inside of all of us. And we have Be the Change workshops, 3-day seminars for adults and teen leaders. And so it's really expanded. We all want this, and we're all ready. It's time on the planet, and we are very hopeful about what's going on in the transformation. So we offer lots of different opportunities to be the change.
Well, you're hopeful, but you are being the change. So already an effect has taken place, and it's quite obvious. That 3-day training is called Next Step to Being the Change, right?
Right. Or in Europe, we are calling it the Being the Change workshop, because they haven't had many challenge days, so it's not next step; it's actually first step. So it doesn't really matter.
As long as they do it.
As long as they're
like
change, that's all that counts.
And they can learn more about that at challengeday.org?
They sure can, in the community workshop section.
In the community workshop section. And that's for everybody else. And if somebody wants to have something like this at their high school or for their kids' high school, how do they do that? Also connect with you there?
They can contact the office. We have a whole share department, which is about sharing the opportunity, telling people what it would take to have it and bring it there. They coach them through every step of the way.
So challengeday.org is the way you'd reach us.
Challengeday.org it is. And any final words before we have to go to commercial and say goodbye?
Well, thank you for what you do. And as I said, I really believe that if we all hold hands around the planet, no matter what our ages, that transformation is happening every day. So thank you for what you do and having us on the show.
Yvonne and Rich, truly, it has been a pleasure, and I look forward to much more doings together and being the change together. So thank you for what you do and for being with us today.
Looking forward to it. Thanks a lot.
All right, ciao, ciao. And with that, I am Filippo on Life Changes with Filippo, and we'll be right back with our producer's wrap right after this.
Listen to these words. He would not be beat by forces too fierce for man, woman, or beast. As the going got tougher, his courage increased. It's a little story with a big message, a message that speaks to children of all ages. It's about believing in yourself, overcoming obstacles, and never giving up. It's been called a masterpiece, one of the finest children's books ever written, and a true children's classic. Shadoe Stevens has been called Dr. Seuss for the 21st century. His big little book, The Big Galoot, is a story about bullying. Bullying has become an American epidemic, and The Big Galoot talks about it in a way that will touch the heart of a child of 4 and a grandfather of 104. It's the story of a little boy with size 42 hands, the biggest hands anyone has ever seen, and the kids laugh at him. Then the laughter turns mean. They mock him and trip him, and much worse. But throughout it all, Warren Galoot says, I'm a Galoot, but I have good luck. You can't get me down. I never give up. A second grader named Chandler said, I thought it was the best funny book I have seen in my life. And we agree. Whoopi Goldberg said, this is a great story. Bravo, Shadow. The Big Galoot is available now as an ebook exclusively on Kindle Fire on Amazon for only $3.98. We strongly urge you to get it for your children, your children's children, or as a gift to yourself. Its message speaks to all of us. Have good luck and never give up. Go to Amazon.com and search for The Big Galoot by Shadow Stevens.
There are self-help seminars costing thousands of dollars guaranteeing miraculous transformations. There are compelling speakers and life-changing weekend experiences where you can walk on fire. They all deliver revelations that guarantee you'll come back for the more expensive revelations filled with even greater wonder next month on Fiji. We get addicted to positive, heartfelt, expensive theater. What we really need is a jumpstart, an awakening. Someone who can give us a reminder that everything we need lies within. Through inspiration and practical knowledge, Dorothy Donahue helps people get grounded and motivated, inspired and energized. It's not just words and affirmations and the power of intention. It's a mindset brought about by a tangible, transcendental experience, an audio-visual, physical, spiritual experience that helps us realize we transform ourselves. We get tools to become the conscious co-creators of lives of unlimited potential. Find out more. Go to DorothyDonahue.com.
Life Changes with Filippo is a premier radio show presented by Life Changes Network, which is a company whose team has dedicated their lives not only to positive change, but to helping others observe and embrace, honor, and even celebrate their own changes, thus enabling a more positive, inspired life and helping to create a more positive and inspired world. From everyday people to corporate giants, celebrities, and children, we are here to help and to serve. With heart and experience, we bring our message and positive intent into your home or corporate office, and even through appearances on your favorite shows. If you wish to learn more about Life Changes life coaching and a private consultation with one of us, corporate event appearances, or if you would like us to appear on your radio or TV shows, visit lifechangeswithfilippo.com and click on our representation page. What is the one thing that every man, woman, and child have in common? Life changes. Are you experiencing change at home, at work, at school, or in other areas of your life? Are you looking to make a change, maybe a new job or place to live? How about getting in on a conversation that matters? Join host Filippo on the top-rated BBS radio network show Life Changes with Filippo, live every Monday night at 7 p.m. For more information, visit lifechangeswithfilippo.com. That's Filippo, Filippo.com.
Well, talk about life changes. This is Filippo, and this is our producer's wrap with Mark Lejour after a very inspiring interview with Yvonne and Rich Dutra-St. John of Challenge Day. Mark, every show touches my heart in some way, but this got inside it and started to dance around and do the hora or something. I mean, it's just like was jumping for joy in there.
Well, it's like you said. I mean, you certainly have a variety of stories within your story that are addressed within this topic, and as do I. And yet, it was so gratifying to hear. We were talking off the air. It was so gratifying to hear some of everything that they had to say and the various angles that they're coming at it from. But the core has been something that I always thought was common sense. And it always felt to me like anyone that has ever gotten enough love or enough nurturing has never felt the need to hurt someone else. And I really think that comes, so when they were talking about that the fact that it's a learned behavior, bullying is a learned behavior, the lack of acceptance, me, and I look at things from a programming standpoint of how we are programmed and imprints through our developing years. And, kids in domestic situations, kids, in these bullying situations, kids just not getting attention. all of these things, create the impetus for this dis-ease, this uncomfortableness, this needing to find attention or execute power over another individual.
Right.
It's a topic that really permeates all ages and is not gender specific.
Yeah, I love their mission. It really encompasses all, and it's so much about love. And then I love how they are just inviting people to be the change, especially kids. I feel like they can really get that, and that they say, notice, choose, and act. I mean, that's so powerful to give them something that strong to do, a to do, notice, choose, and act. And then how he said, like Rich said that I don't remember exact words, but something about when you're focused on doing something good, then you can't be depressed or be hating on anybody, something like that, right?
Yeah, well, that's very true. I mean, it's an idle mind. It creates danger, and yeah, when you're committed and there's an energy, there's an energy exchange in that doing good. So anybody that's ever been through that situation, right? It felt so good when you go through that moment. And then you get disconnected from that moment because of, past situations or stresses that you're going through. And you kind of have to be guided back there sometimes. But, the more that we can stay in that place of being in a giving, spirit, that's when you really start feeling it. And it really is. It's hard to not feel good about something like that.
This morning a friend and a fan sent a video to me about a group of people from a spiritual university that went into a women's penitentiary and taught them a 3-day workshop. And you just watch these women in this video just getting it and their lights starting to shine. And I thought, wow, if only that could have happened before they ended up in the penitentiary. And why aren't there things like that for people before? And then afterwards, as I'm getting ready for the show, I'm like, this.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. There wasn't a middle ground. If you look at the statistics, and I worked for a medium security a facility for disadvantaged youth. And, inner city, kids up in Pennsylvania. And I used, the stories would blow your mind in terms of how smart they were, how aware they were. But the smarts came from being street smart. And the reality is they never had exposure. I had an 8-year-old that had never been around animals. And his whole life changed by working with the animals in a neighboring farm. And seeing him give and receive love was a brand new thing for him because he had been in a HUD housing project and was discarded and was a crack mother and kind of all these things that you hear about that are stereotypical of that type of a poverty base. And so he didn't have any knowledge of this. He didn't have an experience as to how to give and receive love because he was in a survival mode from day one. And how can you learn, right? We talk about programming. Those that if you grow up somewhere and you're only handed a certain set of circumstances and that's all you know, then how can someone expect something different from that person? Until they're given the opportunity, like you're saying, where there's some sort of a practice where a new way of thinking and being, a new perspective is demonstrated and shown, and suddenly the eyes open and you want more of that.
Well, if we can have more people seeing the vision that Yvonne and Rich see, then if what we focus on truly expands, then we're going to be doing pretty good here. Their vision is that every child lives in a world where they feel safe, loved, and celebrated. What could be better?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I can't remember the French author, but it reminded me of a quote that I so love, which is that my one wish is that every soul would be total transparent freedom.
Well, there you go. We're aligning. And you know what? You would love this. I know, because we've talked about other businesses that you've worked with where you were wanting them to get into a certain culture. And we've talked about, as Life Changes grows, to have a culture within our business and corporate structure where people feel the integrity that we are. And that's what Yvonne and Rich do. In a previous conversation I had with them, they talk about how they're committed to that. And when somebody walks into their office or their business, they feel love. And they have worked on how to help other people get, if they're not there, to get them there, because that's where it starts.
Imagine going into a boardroom where the goal is to arrive at a fair deal, and where the goal is to arrive at a collaboration that has no choice but to move forward. That it's the return of the handshake, where everybody is in alignment. When everybody's agenda is in alignment, there is a win there. And that culture exists in moderation or as a minority, and hopefully now we are at the tipping point to where that's part of I believe the breakdown in capitalism is revealing and emerging this creative collaborative culture, right? People, the survival of the fittest and kill or be killed, that doesn't work anymore. Those are old rules. And we're getting to a place where people are having to rely on each other. Businesses are having to rely on other businesses and start to learn how to achieve, economies of collaborative scale.
Well, certainly the kids that grow up with this kind of challenge day kind of experience, if they are to be the change and if they keep it, then they grow up to be these leaders and corporate in that boardroom that you're talking about. And certainly it will be a different boardroom. If we all keep that vision, I'm going to say it one more time, that every child lives in a world where they feel safe, loved, and celebrated. And I thank Yvonne and Rich for that. I thank Dorothy Lee Donahue, our producer, and I thank you, Mark, our producer as well and co-host. I am Filippo Voltaggio, and thanking you all for being with us here and reminding you, as life changes, we're with you. Ciao, everyone.
You have been listening to Life Changes with Filippo, with the Master of Change, Filippo Voltaggio. Listen live every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the BBS Radio Network, and visit us online at lifechangeswithfilippo.com. That's Filippo, Filippo. Today's show has been made possible in part by our sponsors, Ionways Water Systems, Change Your Water, Change Your Life, and Love and Miracles with Dorothy Lee Donahue. To learn more about them, visit the sponsor page of our website. Once again, join us here next week as we consciously explore and embrace the only constant, life changes.